should have known that Star Wars would eventually result in the downfall of civilization through toxic fandom on social media the second we saw that opening of the first movie, and it had 4 dots in the ellipsis. The signs were all there from the beginning. Also, starting your Star Wars property with this line, but not going directly into John Williams' incredible opening theme in a nonsense positional text crawl, giving us this much of this lightsaber battle without even the slightest hint of any Fates dueling in the background score.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Look, we all make mistakes, but including this in your previously on the prequel sections really feels like doubling down on what is either a f*** you to the abilities of the Jedi or a f*** you to valid criticism. I actually kind of respect the latter, and there's nothing I like more than sinning things I respect. Also, I almost want to remove a sin for Disney giving us a 4-minute recap to save us from having to go back and rewatch 3 decidedly average movies. But it turns out even this small snippet of a compilation was enough to make me rageful about all the missed opportunities. And of course, Jar Jar Binks. Being a Jedi and only just now realizing your Jedi yoga class is under attack. Opening with the execution of Order 66 is a super bold and dark way to start the show, and I'm kinda here for it. Looks like this show's starting off strong and really setting the tone for what will surely be an action-packed and well-paced series. Cindy's about to add a sin, aren't they?
What do we do now? We run.
Don't worry, you're safe. You've got plot armor. What else would explain why there are all of a sudden no backup troopers on this bridge and still dozens below? Also, if this is the entirety of the troop that stormed in here, how were these Jedi overrun? I'd put the average Jedi at least a 10-to-1 advantage on troopers whose defining characteristic is their incompetence. There are at least 10 Jedi in this giant room and at most 30 Stormies. Star Wars show starts on Tatooine cliché. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we spend most of Andor here too. Parking your ship in the middle of the road. Scene does not contain a Jason Isaacs.
You know who we are.
I only mention it so that you'll say it out loud so the audience who didn't watch Star Wars Rebels will also know who we are. Oh, and by the way, I'm following it up with a question about what we do, just so we can squeeze as much forced exposition out of you as possible.
Now, if he were smart, he'd keep moving, but the Jedi code is like an itch.
I mean, sure, but you can hide an itch. Look, I'm just saying Jedi can still do good things under the radar and be careful enough not to get caught. You don't have to be my cousin Lance and splay your legs and go crotch digging every time you get an itch.
There.
Case in point, Uncut Gems here could have simply stopped that knife and let it fall, but for some reason decides to control hover it there for a good 4 seconds so that he can be spotted. Here's an idea, Mr. Inquisitor, sir. Instead of force pushing the person you aren't trying to apprehend and put them off balance, maybe force push the one that you are? Oh no, however will they chase him through these impenetrable rods and fabric? Are Jedi dumb now? I feel like Jedi are dumb now. Also, this somehow works to deter them from giving full chase. Is everyone dumb now? I feel like everyone's dumb now. If you really want to make the most of the shade provided by this dead sand thing, wouldn't building along its side as close as possible be a better option than building outwards? This makes even more sense as we learn they're scavenging food from it. The fact that this slacker still has a job. Look at him, he's barely moving the knife. Also, this is the most unsanitary meat processing plant to ever unsanitary. They're basically processing meat directly from this roadkill in the hot sun with sand everywhere. And this slacker isn't even wearing a hairnet. Considering we're about to find out this greedy corporation cut the workers' wages in half without even telling them, how does this asshole company pinching pennies that tightly let Obi-Wan just casually get away with pocketing a portion of their daily output in plain sight? Honestly, it's not just that I'm sick of this planet, I'm sick of the way every show on this planet thinks I want to see more grandiose Lawrence of Kenobia traveling sand porn. So wise scholar once said, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and Star Wars cinematographers use it everywhere. Ever since Ray bubbled some up a few years ago, I've lamented that magic stew isn't a real thing, and now this show continues that trauma by rubbing it in my face after I'd almost gotten over it. Either invent magic stew or take it out of your content. I can only handle so much disappointment.
You're late.
I've been waiting 17 years to hear Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again, and the first thing you have him say is a character tells another character they're late even though it doesn't impact the plot at all cliché? If his next line is you'd better come take a look at this, I'm shutting this channel down.
Do you have it?
Whew, that was close. But it's still pronoun gaming, so I do need to add another sin. Here we see Obi-Wan buying the toy we'll see Luke playing with in the original Star Wars, which is cute and all, but this episode will pile on callback after callback after, wait, call forward? Call concurrent? Call it what you want when you're doing it this much, you're getting a sin?
Tika, if you're going to steal my parts and then sell them back to me, could you at least clean them first, as a courtesy?
Jawas are deceitful little thieves? This is brand new information. I wonder if this is ground that's been covered before in the movies, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, the video games, the novels, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars, Star Wars... Dreaming in realistic and picture-perfect flashbacks. Dreams aren't usually replay videos, they're impressionistic surrealism sleep theater with vague plot points. At the very least, Anakin should have hot dog fingers. Just when you thought I might be kidding about the sand porn, the show goes hardcore with yet another desert travel montage. If you listen closely in the background, you can hear the DP moaning in ecstasy about grainy beige and saying things like, "Show me the vast expanse of your badlands, baby." Obi! How's the peeping? How's the peeping, Obi? Obi.
They're hunting me. You have to help me.
This whole interaction seems silly to me. Why would Nari seek out Obi-Wan like this if he knew he was being hunted? What did he honestly think Obi-Wan could do for him right now? Why would Obi-Wan even stick around for this conversation out in the open? Does no one on this Cloak and Saber show know how to clandestine correctly?
What about the people that need us? What about the fight?
The fight is done. We lost.
As understandable as it is, I have to admit that Moody Mopey giving up on the galaxy Kenobi is my least favorite flavor of Kenobi. At least they're getting the retired hero is disillusioned stuff out of the way so we can see our beloved Obi-Wan swinging in full force from episode 2, right?
We're going to be late.
2 character accuses another character of being late cliches in the span of 20 minutes? That's actually kind of impressive. I hope the rest of the show is just a series of characters telling other characters they're late until at the very end, where Gandalf shows up precisely when he means to.
She's either in the cellar, in the kitchen, or in the woods.
This must be the lamest palace ever if these are the 3 best options for a 10-year-old to run off to for fun. Also, if Leia's pulling this so often, wouldn't it be smart to put some sort of surreptitious tracking device inside of her Lola droid? Nah, who am I kidding? Who would be smart enough to do that?
Pleasure barge, boring.
I think Star Wars may have learned the wrong lesson from The Mandalorian. Since Baby Yoda was such a hit, now they want to give us Baby Leia, and then also give Baby Leia a Baby R2. I guess if they think we overload on cute, we won't notice the terrible dialogue and plot progression of this forced narrative. Sorry, SW, we noticed.
It is like raising a glory.
Star Wars character is insulted by being compared to a creature that I've never heard of, therefore giving me no context as to the nature of the insult. Cliché.
No Lola for the rest of the day.
But she didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, neither did my PC when I got stuck trying to beat Darth Maul on the Phantom Menace video game, but that didn't stop my mom from turning it off after 3 days of not seeing me and saying something about my night terrors keeping her up. I may have some unresolved issues there.
If you behaved as well as you climb, you'd be a senator already.
Senators with the maturity of a 10-year-old. In other words, senators. You know, an episode of a sci-fi show is paced poorly when I have to wonder if I'm in a repeating time loop story.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father?
Until this point, it was generally accepted that Anakin was the recipient of the worst burn in the franchise. Also, why is Obi-Wan so keen to train Luke but refuses to help the existing Jedi that are actually begging him for help?
You know why we are here.
But I'll restate it to you again in case the audience has forgotten in the last 20 minutes since we expositioned it to them the first time.
We're not under the Empire's...
Hear that split-second scream? That's all we're going to hear from the now handless backtalker for the rest of the scene. We won't see her, hear her, or have any idea what happened after she got her entire hand lasered off. On one hand, you might think this is strange, considering most people who traumatically lose an extremity would still be screaming in severe pain somewhere. But on the other hand, there is no other hand. Moses Ingram is great in this episode, and I'm taking off TVSins just to spite the racist, hateful morons who think that being a fan means aggressively bullying anyone who doesn't fit your shallow, insignificant definition of the thing you pretend to love. Grow up, live love, pursue healthy fandom, you troglodytes.
Say this for me.
This scene would feel far tenser, and Reva's threats would carry far more weight if I didn't already know that this character survives. Another show falls victim to a bad case of prequelitis.
We spent the last 10 years looking for him.
Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places.
Well, yes, as evidenced by the whole not finding him yet.
Be careful, third sister.
The plot summary of most of the episodes of the Brady Bunch somehow makes it into the episode.
Probably scouring for pirates.
That's what I said.
Don't encourage her.
There are some points in this episode where I swear the writer's goal was to sound like every trope from every bad sitcom in the history of the galaxy. We're really playing the kid acts out, but the dad's into it, and the mom has to play the heavy and be the only adult in the room card right now.
You don't need manners when you're talking to a lower life form.
Then I guess I don't need manners when I'm talking to you.
Are we supposed to side with Leia here because we know she turns out to be Carrie Fisher someday? Because it could be argued she's being the bigger nerf herder here. He calls into question her kindness towards droids, and she immediately goes full force into a personal attack.
Not even a real look on her.
Whoa, adult kneeling to be on the same level as a child for a heart-to-heart alert. Automatic skip commencing.
One day this planet will look to you, Leia.
And you will look back to it. Well, at least to the remaining pieces you can still see drifting off into space. Good talk.
Why are you here?
Disney's incessant need for extremely strange cameos.
Just waiting.
For what?
For you.
That may be the lamest attempt at making a chase seem real in the history of filmmaking. Run that back in slow motion, will you? Not only does Flea get caught needlessly monologuing, but watch this guy. He's there to catch this girl, and she gets a full 5 steps in before he starts half-heartedly jogging after her. And you thought stormtroopers were idiots. And it just keeps getting worse. As if the slow escape wasn't enough, watch again as these mercenaries continue being bested by a 10-year-old running through some light foliage and pondering the complexities of navigating a small tree branch, accompanied, of course, by a force load of sins.
What about the Senate?
We cannot let this become public. It would draw too much attention.
Well, then maybe leaving her with such an influential family wasn't the best idea to begin with. You can't hide the daughter of Vader as the princess of an entire planet and also complain that telling the Senate she's been kidnapped will draw too much attention to who she really is. You can't have it both ways, fictional TV show. I won't have it.
Were you a guard then? Or a bounty hunter?
Only you know how important she really is, Obi-Wan.
Isn't that the beauty of bounty hunters? The whole point is that they care much more about the price attached to the bounty than the bounty itself. You pay them enough and they bring you back Leia and a basis for your new Cantina band. You know, an episode of a sci-fi show is paced poorly when I have to wonder if I'm in a repeating time loop story and I find myself reusing the same jokes. Also, this is the 3rd time for this, and yet the show refuses to play any Sonny and Cher or go full Womp Rat Day. Sorry, forgot. Here on Tatooine, the artist is Sonny and Sonny, of course.
Can you untie me?
Children's toys that come equipped with buzzsaws. Honestly, at this point, just rename the franchise Star Traversing Slowly Through Deserts and the Occasional Wars. You needed a shovel for something buried less than a foot deep in the loose sand? Not only could you have just reached in there and grabbed that, you're lucky the wind didn't expose it within the first few days of being under there.
Well, you coming or not?
Title of my Star Wars sex tape? Casually flashing your lightsaber in public when it could get you arrested or even killed.
Do you not realize I have had diarrhea since Easter's?
Looking for this steamer. What?
I have had enough of you!
Something you want to say?
It's a state of affairs to be in, Tommy, and all the fresh air in the world won't make any difference.
Good soup.
I had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours.
You're late.
A wizard is never late.
I'm a man who discovered the wheel and built the Eiffel Tower out of metal and brawn.
You want my help? Take this.
And shove it up your ass. All up in your ass.
I'm asking you to leave us alone, Ben. I mean it.
Anybody want to feel it?
I'm not afraid of you.
You will be. You will be.